The significance of life and the mirror of resilience. Some places, by their mere existence, compel people to rethink the significance of being, and Greenland is one such territory. The true value of life lies in simple things and unpretentious beauty, which we often forget in the daily rush. Yet here at the coldest inhabited point of the Northern Hemisphere, the very definition of life is constantly tested for resilience. In a land of eternal ice and snow, where the icy wind cuts through everything and periods of darkness last for months, locals are forced to cherish the most basic blessings: warmth, light, and mutual aid. Greenland is a colossal island that few may know much about. It is not merely an icy kingdom, but a vivid reflection of the limits of human endurance and the ability to adapt to powerful yet merciless nature. Misunderstood history of the Vikings. The misunderstood and forgotten history of the Vikings is remarkable. How did these people reach this icy, isolated island? About 10 centuries ago, Norwegian and Icelandic seafarers discovered Greenland. Until then, Europeans had no knowledge of its existence. Despite harsh frosts, they believed the island could serve as temporary refuge and later as a trading post. Seafarers from Norway and Denmark brought a considerable number of settlers to Greenland. At that time, the population reached about 2,000 people, and the foundations of trading posts were established. The Scandinavians tried to develop trade and agriculture, but these attempts did not succeed in the long term. The vast icy island and Danish-influenced Greenland is a vast territory on the edge of the planet, almost entirely covered with ice. Over 80% of its 2 million square kilometers are bound by glaciers, and the climate is so harsh it feels as though the blood in residents' veins freezes. Located in the North Atlantic, Greenland does not have full state independence. It has autonomy and is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. The inhabitants are heavily influenced by Danish culture. The capital and largest settlement is Nuuk, which, despite its status, has only around 20,000 residents. The total number of people trying to survive across Greenland is about 60,000. The origin of the name Greenland and withdrawal from the EU. The name Greenland comes from the observations of Scandinavians during the summer months, when the land appeared mostly green. Thus, they named it Greenland. Foreign visitors still refer to it by this name. In the 20th century, Greenland enjoyed certain preferences within the European Union. However, in 1985, following a nationwide referendum, the decision was made to withdraw from the EU. The reason was the EU's restrictions on Greenlanders' key source of income, global fish exports. The EU interfered in fisheries management and expressed interest in Greenland's 35% of the world's uranium and iron reserves. Essentially, EU member countries continued to use Greenland for their own benefit, prompting Greenland to pursue a more independent path. Special land use regulations. Currently, if a Greenland resident wishes to receive education or medical care in Denmark, the Danish government covers all expenses. Additionally, in Greenland, private land ownership is not possible. Individuals cannot own land. If someone wants to build a house or a shop, they must request permission from state authorities, pay the required fees, and use the plot for personal purposes. A significant portion of housing in the capital, Nuuk, is constructed through government projects and features bright colors. These homes can be purchased for an average cost of around $350,000. Reasons for the Scandinavian failure and the arrival of the Inuit contrary to common belief. The main reason Scandinavians could not establish stable life and population growth in Greenland was not the cold. Livestock brought by the Vikings perished due to dry conditions. The soil was so depleted that, despite all efforts, farmers could not grow greenery or fruit trees. The inability to cultivate the land forced Scandinavians to return to the continent, leaving only a small number of people to continue trade. Life in Greenland gained special interest with the arrival of the Inuit, also known as Eskimos. They reached Greenland on foot thousands of years ago during the Ice Age. Unlike Scandinavian seafarers, they did not discover the land. In ancient times, before Greenland became an island, there was a land connection, which the Inuit used to settle there. Modern Greenland's small population consists of descendants of both the Scandinavians, who arrived centuries ago for trade, and the Inuit who inhabited the area millennia earlier. dependence on Denmark and resource appeal today, Greenlanders still answer to Denmark, though they can make many important decisions independently. However, existence without Danish support seems unrealistic. Denmark annually provides about $1 billion to sustain Greenland's livelihood. The island regularly attracts the interest of countries such as China, Russia, and the USA due to massive uranium and iron deposits beneath its surface. Additionally, Greenland holds some of the world's largest fish reserves. Family unity and reverence for nature family is the cornerstone of survival. In Greenland, there are virtually no isolated individuals, as living alone in these conditions is impossible. People must stay together to withstand the cold and ensure survival. Their greatest concern is the melting of ice and glaciers. Glacier reduction threatens not only them but signals global consequences for humanity. Rising ocean levels inevitably lead to apocalyptic outcomes for coastal zones. They are also exposed to natural disasters. Sudden sea tsunamis can sweep away local boats. They must carefully read natural signs and remain vigilant, as even a small mistake could drag them into icy waters, where the ocean spares no errors. Waste management and high internet costs. Greenland faces another challenge: almost complete lack of necessary infrastructure. In sparsely populated areas, extensive landfills have been organized for household waste. While Greenland is unlikely to become a dumping ground soon, these landfills will inevitably expand and harm the frozen landscapes over time. This represents both an environmental threat and emphasizes the state's isolation at the edge of the world. In most regions, residents lack internet access. Network access exists only in the capital, Nuuk, with connection fees reaching 300 Danish kroner, unaffordable for most. Moreover, the connection speed is so slow it is comparable to sending a signal through centuries-old Arctic ice. Hunting as a means of survival. Due to technological constraints, cultivating edible vegetables and fruits is impossible. Hunting is the main way to sustain life. Locals venture into the sea with rifles to hunt seals and polar bears, using the meat for food and skins for clothing to protect against the cold. While this may seem harsh, no state provides free sustenance here. Those without boats try to cut ice on frozen rivers to fish. Failure may result in starvation. Cutting through the ice requires significant physical effort. Then they manually lower nets and wait, often successfully. Northern Lights and life in isolation. Greenland is vast yet sparsely populated, so people cherish each other's company. Besides Nuuk, there are 6 other settlements, with the largest housing around 300 people. The only accessible facilities are a temple and a grocery store. Residents with chronic illnesses have little hope for long life in such conditions. How long can one endure existence without transport, vegetation, insects, mobile communication, or leisure facilities? The surroundings are wild, isolated, and the sea frozen during winter. Sometimes the sun does not rise at all, with most days spent in darkness. Snowstorms leave no shelter, and exposure can result in severe illness, confining someone to bed for months. The only geographical advantage is observing the mesmerizing dance of the Northern Lights. Remoteness, scarcity, and marriage traditions. Even Nuuk suffers from lack of entertainment, medical services, and transportation. Without communication, external help is delayed, as Greenland is entirely isolated from billions of people. Visitors feel as if on the moon, in a silent, otherworldly place. Low population density makes marriage a serious issue. Finding a partner is so difficult that unmarried citizens may need local authorities' assistance. Widows and widowers are encouraged to remarry and have children to prevent population decline. In some communities, women may have multiple husbands, a rare but accepted practice aimed at survival. Childbearing is a societal necessity, as each new life carries immense value. Joy amidst the ice. Greenland is frozen, solid like stone, and not for everyone. Yet those who arrive and open themselves to this land discover countless treasures beneath the white frost. Amid endless ice fields, small patches of greenery remain. The air is fresh and pure, almost unbelievable in today's world. What astonishes most are the people. Constantly smiling faces radiating simple happiness. Greenlanders live in harmony with nature. among whales, seals, and polar bears. They know each other, trust one another, and live free of hostility. They are not entangled in politics or view nature as something to conquer. They value all living beings, share even the smallest joy, and coexist peacefully in a state considered one of the harshest on Earth. Eskimos and Scandinavians have formed a tight-knit community, perhaps the reason Greenland is one of the few places free from malice.